In the security news, the feds take their ball and go home. First-gen cell network insecurities, a bunch of Microsoft stuff, and, well, OMB attestation orders changing, something like that, and a few other things. All that and more on this episode of Paul's Security Weekly.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER. This episode is brought to you by Adaptive Security, the first cybersecurity company backed by OpenAI. AI has fundamentally reshaped the threat landscape. Today, the greatest risk isn't someone breaking into your systems, it's someone breaking into your trust. Deepfake voices joining your video calls. AI-crafted phishing emails that perfectly mimic your executives. Even synthetic job applicants entering through the front door. Adaptive Security is designed to counter these new realities. The company delivers real-time attack simulations that show security teams exactly what modern AI-driven threats look and sound like, and prepares them to respond effectively. Learn more at securityweekly.com/adaptive.
Coming to you from what can only be described as Purgatory Studios, in semi-high definition, compliments of Darth Vader himself or not. This is Paul's Security Weekly, episode 911. 911 is a joke in your town, right? Being recorded this Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. And I am not your host, Paul Asadorian. I am Larry Pesci. Paul could not join us tonight, but instead, I am being joined by a bunch of curmudgeons and Mandy. Mandy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I feel like I need to change my title to decurmudgeonizer.
Oh, very nice. Speaking of curmudgeons, it even says right here on Riverside, curmudgeon in residence, Mr. Jeff Mann.
Hey, what's up, Larry?
Oh, you know, the sky, I was going to say snow, but that's all fallen from the sky down around where we are. So
it's one of those rare opportunities we can have a show without Paul, so we can talk about Paul and talk about our stories instead of his stories.
What are you saying, Jeff? What exactly are you saying, Jeff?
I'm saying, we're going to play and we're going to have fun because
heck yeah,
because Dad's not
cat
home.
Is away.
Yeah. Speaking of playing and having fun, Mr. Lee Neely's here with us too.
Yeah. Only thing I can say, Jeff, is good luck with that. So if I'm reading this right, Mandy's going to save us all from with just her Series 7 decurmudgeonizer and her wits.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. We're going to have decurmudgeonization rounds going
on. Speaking of decurmudgeoning and lack of wits, Mr. Joshua Marpet is also with us.
I'm really happy to be here on episode 911. That's crazy.
I know.
That is crazy.
Can we label this episode Wits Only?
Wits Only. In a battle of wits, who came unarmed?
The Sicilian.
For tonight.
I got one on each side.
Me too. Oh, you know what? Do you know the only one who doesn't have arms here? Paul.
Oh, he doesn't have an arm. He has no arms in this race. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, he has no leg, and he has no leg to stand on. So, hey, before we get into the news here, we've got a couple of announcements. RSA conference, RSAC 2026. Security Weekly listeners can save $100 on their RSAC 2026 All Access Pass. RSAC 2026 conference will take place March 23rd and to March 26th in San Francisco. To register using our discount code, please visit securityweekly.com/RSAC26 and use the code 56, the letter U, 5, SEC Weekly, SEC Weekly. We hope to see you there. Also, ZTW 2026 Zero Trust World. Yeah. Most security conferences talk about threats. Zero Trust World lets you attack them.
Is a threat. No, I'm
no. From
I'm
March
feeling threatened.
4th, from March 4th to 6th, 2026 in Orlando, Florida. This hands-on cybersecurity event features live hacking labs where you'll break real environments, think like an adversary, and learn how attacks really work. You'll also get expert sessions, real-world case studies, CPE credits, and networking with top practitioners. And yes, at least some portions of the Security Weekly team will be there as well.
Yay.
Yes, I'll be there. So
nice.
come
Awesome.
say
It was
chat.
awesome last year.
It
I'm
was
hoping you
awesome.
have as good a time as we had last time because
and I'll be there as well to curmudgeonize Mandy's
Nice.
decurmudgeoning.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep. Register.
I'm sorry, Mandy.
Register at securityweekly.com/ZTW. I am unclear if I'm going to be there yet. I did see something about the invitation, but I've got to check with work schedule and all that good stuff to see how things will
Let's see.
work
I
out.
can't do like double cross figures, right? So just one.
one for Mandy, one for Larry, something like that. So, all right. Hey, let's dive into some
Hey,
news.
before we jump into the news
Go ahead, Jeff.
proper, it just popped up on my Facebook page, and this is making me feel old. Today is 40 years since the Challenger blew up.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
it is.
40 years.
Really?
Was
So
it? I
40
mean, I don't think it was today, but it was within the last
No, it
couple of
was-
days.
I think it was today.
That was today.
Was it
40 years
Okay.
ago, January
According
28th,
to the picture that I'm looking at, January 28th. Yep.
I was in
I had run.
I was
home
in
for
Mr.
lunch
Huff's
and
class.
Was watching it on TV at home.
Mr. Huff's class
This
in
is
social
this is
studies
before I went
in
to work
high
for
school.
NSA.
Oh, so it's your fault,
and-
Jeff.
and
Is
let
that
me
what you're
guess,
saying?
You were watching the launch live on television.
Mm-hmm. I didn't work at NASA. I worked at NSA, but
Yeah,
not
close
on this
enough.
level. That
So-
was
So Josh, were you watching the launch live on TV in school when it happened?
Yeah, we were, and it was in our social studies teacher's room in high school, and because this is a relevant social studies event, and we
Yep.
Sure.
we watched the launch go off and then the launch go wrong, and it was really interesting, the reaction from all the students and all the teachers, how some of the teachers went very protective and some of the teachers went very, this is life and this is what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say I can't say I had that experience. I was actually homesick that day from school, but I was watching it on laying on the sofa watching it because it was one of those significant events when we were kids. And Jeff, to make you feel old, I was in elementary school at the time, so yep. But all of my friends and now everybody at the school was watching it because Krista McAuliffe was, the school teacher was on that particular mission. So, yeah,
That was 86, right?
Yep, 86.
Yes, it was.
Shoot.
no, I wasn't in elementary school. I was 11. So yeah, I was in middle school.
I was just starting my last term of college.
14 or 15,
Wow.
something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of curmudgeons, right?
Well,
Yeah, but he's older than me, I think.
mhm.
He's retired.
Mhm.
You had a late start to college, I guess.
Well, I actually wasn't sure if I would go to college, so I spent 4 years in junior college figuring it out, which is a lot cheaper than figuring it out in a 4-year.
That's very true.
Valid.
Good point. Good point.
Valid.
It's impressive you stuck to junior college for 4 years and then you went on.
Mm-hmm.
And you did senior college for 4 years?
2. Actually,
Okay.
2 and a quarter.
Okay.
Because then I had plenty of units. I got in. I got everything that. But it took a little longer because there was a couple of classes I hadn't done as an undergrad that they wanted. So that was fine.
Yep, makes sense. Makes sense.
Anyway, I didn't mean to digress, but I thought
No,
it was
no.
worthy enough as an anniversary to mention it.
Well, we can kind of segue into Larry's number 1 about Air Force One.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was a weird story. I mean, we've talked about all sorts of radio technology and software-defined radio and all this stuff, and ADSB for aircraft beacons and all that type of stuff. It's one of the things that we use as an example in my SANS wireless course for using software-defined radio to decode and figure out what unknown signals were.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one I thought was actually kind of fascinating. One, highly illegal if it was in fact actually sent into the air. But it was observed that someone appeared to have been spoofing ADSB over, I think it was, over Mar-a-Lago in Florida. The Air Force One allegedly tail number was being spoofed as Vance 1 and drew the J.D. Vance meme picture, the one with him with the curly hair where he's really fat, over Mar-a-Lago. And the way they did the coloring was by varying the altitude. So at higher altitude, it was a different color for the path that the airplane was taking. From between and spoofing that the aircraft was between 20,000 and 50,000 feet to change the color on the display.
Wait, I need more information here. So you're talking about it's spoofing it, but then can you give me more detail? Like, how would it have done that in order to transpond what altitude it was supposed to be faking?
Yeah, so Mandy, with the ADSB aircraft beacons, not only will it give you a description of the aircraft, meaning like tail number, but those beacons also indicate heading, altitude, speed, and GPS latitude and longitude. So where on the map is it? What direction is it heading? And how high is it? The tool that was observed to look at that data would render altitude. So ADSB exchange would render altitude as a specific color. So if it was at say 50,000 feet, it would render the data as red, and if it was at 30,000 feet, pink, 20,000 feet, blue. So basically, had the aircraft at 20,000 feet to have the blue eyes in the meme, and the shading the various heights in altitude with the rendering tool for tracking aircraft along the paths.
So
Let me,
Mandy,
I want to share a screen if I can figure out how to do it and show you.
okay, but Mandy, let me explain something.
Here we go.
You don't actually have to
Share
have the
this.
plane up in the air to do that.
Yeah.
It's just a radio signal. It's just a radio signal.
Yes, to
Somebody
do what
sent a
they're
radio
doing. But
signal.
this is what ADSB data looks like when it's rendered. In this little box on the right is the tail number, the registry, the flight, the altitude and stuff. And I can click on them and see there. Whoops, that one just landed or disappeared.
Let's hope
Where
it
they're
did.
going. Well, the helicopter was like right there a minute ago. And I can see this is this one, and there's more information that can bring you out. But yeah, that's at 16,000 feet.
My hands were not on the keyboard.
This one's at this one's at but you can see the different colors that represent different heights, and this is a little farther away.
Josh, you're saying, wait, where did Josh go?
It wasn't my turn to watch him.
Yeah, me either.
We lost the Josh. Okay. I knew that would happen.
Dang it!
Man, I see Mandy's strategy now.
I was going to say, see how this guy is purple at 40,000 feet versus this
Yeah.
guy
No, I
is a 9,000.
100% understand that, and I fully get like that. I thought that what Larry was saying was that in spoofing it, it was being done. Now, Josh said they had to be in the air
Mhm.
in order to do this.
So
Yeah.
So arguably in the air, meaning someone basically took a transmitter and faked all of this data, broadcast it into the air to be received by other aircraft and by whatever other tracking systems were there. So someone intentionally created false ADSB aircraft transmissions into the air for this to happen.
Okay, but were they doing that from their wicked lab on the
Yes.
ground?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. They could absolutely do that from the from the
They
ground.
had to be on the second floor of their house, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
To make it appear like they were off the ground.
They had to be in range of an antenna, so being up in the air is better. But
They did not, in fact, attack Air Force One in any way, shape, or form, or hijack.
And
another word for hijacking there.
Yeah, and Lee, this brings sort of based on what you're showing us with your output here, it kind of brings into question, and this is a great point, Mandy. Normally, if you were going to spoof that data into the air, you'd kind of need, if you wanted a fake false aircraft to show up on Lee's report here, and on Lee's real-time display, you'd need to be near Lee to have his receiver receive it. However, the output from this one tweet here, and I apologize that it's a tweet, looks like that they were gathering the data from one of the online exchanges, specifically ADSB exchange.
Yeah.
So could that mean that I could spoof that in my house to my receiver, or in Lee's house to Lee's receiver that we're looking at now, have Lee's receiver populate ADSB exchange with this false data that appeared, Lee just saw this one aircraft, but it was in Mar-a-Lago as opposed to Boise, Idaho.
Yeah. I mean, because my receiver is just listening for the ADSB signal. It isn't doing a is it real check. If it's got the data, it can parses it and pass it on. I mean, this is actually this particular map is a side feature of the ADSB receiver. I mean, the main data coming out of the ADSB receiver looks, like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot more boring than. But
so are you saying for it to be spoofed over Mar-a-Lago, it had to be within range of the receivers at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility, and I would argue that the answer is yes. However, if Lee was at Mar-a-Lago and Lee was seeing this type of data, yes, it would need to be in that type of space, because the RF only goes so far. However, for example, Lee set up. And I have one that I haven't checked in on a long time. All of Lee's observation will populate to Flight Radar 24, right? Lee's, or is that Flight Aware? Either way, it will populate to one of the online services, which may not validate that the data that they're getting is sane. Meaning Lee's station is in Idaho, but he received aircraft beacons for Mar-a-Lago, and then populated them to the database as Mar-a-Lago. Can the online aggregators, filter out potentially erroneous data that way?
Yeah, that's interesting. And and like I said, it's just sitting out there receiving. I can receive, the way my antenna is set, I can receive up to 100 miles away. There are those that can go farther.
How big of an antenna do you have?
Oh, it's about 3.5, 4 feet long. It's on 1090 kilohertz. So, or is it megahertz? Anyway,
megahertz, 1090
megahertz.
Yep.
That is 1,000 megahertz. So, it's a good size antenna, and actually, because of the HOA restrictions, I can't have it on the roof. So it's actually in front of a window in my garage, hanging down.
So down.
Ask if it was on the second floor.
No.
Yep.
Single,
so down quite.
No
down
second
quite
floor
low.
here. But they say, oh, it'll work much better if you put it up on your roof, like tie it to your chimney. And I'm like, yeah, it would. But there's consequences for that.
So the data you receive, is it visible then to anybody in the U.S. or anybody globally that knows to look, right? Okay, so it's not just a local, regional
I feed it up to
transmission.
Flight Radar 24, but you could
Right.
but if you're transmitting this ADSB data in the vicinity of a receiver, like the one in Mirlago, or I mean, you look at that tweet; they're all over. They're broadcasting. I think they were actually up in the air, or at least they had a relay up to one in the air, because there's a lot of points that's coming in.
Mhm.
Yep.
And crazy. But talk about spamming somebody with data. They're all,
Yeah. And
I'd say,
now,
where do I stop that?
and where we're actually talking about this, Lee, you talk about spamming the data. Because so the data that was aggregated, that generated the image, was at ADSB Exchange. Looks like it was at ADSB Exchange. And I don't know. I haven't looked. Because one, could you spam this into the air to be received by a receiver at Mar-a-Lago, nearby Mar-a-Lago, to populate ADSB Exchange? Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Could you spam this to a receiver near Lee in Boise
and have it relayed back? I mean, if I was feeding, I mean, there's ADSB receivers out here that feed other networks. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because then, so Lee receives a beacon from an aircraft that says it's in Mar-a-Lago. It's a really long distance. It's very unlikely that Lee would be able to see that, but it's still data that Lee received at his radio, which then get pushed to ADSB Exchange.
It depends on whether the receiver has a concept of too far, whether it validates that that's simply too far for me to have heard it. And I would imagine they probably didn't do that.
Yeah, whether and Josh, whether we talk about receiver validating that it's too far, which is unlikely, based on the software, but also ADSB Exchange in this case, validating the data that comes from Lee's station could arguably be too far.
Yeah,
I think that would be more likely.
My station knows it's Latin long.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean,
it's interesting because that way it can compute how far away it's seeing things. Because one of the stats that comes out of it is how far away are the airplanes I'm seeing. Yep. It wasn't on the screen I showed you. It was, for whatever reason, Dump 1090 doesn't give the range, but that's okay. It's in the data. It just doesn't know how to parse it.
Yep.
So it's,
by the way, Mandy, this type of data has been out there for decades in terms of flight information.
I remember because I was thinking about when I was 2, 3, 4 and my dad had his own plane and, we were flying and he would show me all of the stuff. And I remember, of course, it was not on screens like this. It didn't render exactly like this.
Of course.
But to me, it's it's what I remember from childhood and from being at the small town airports and everything that we were at all the time. So I fully do get that. I feel like that's been around, I'm going to guess from the 60s, the early 70s.
Oh, definitely 60s. Maybe not
60s?
Not on a screen like this. But
right.
Yeah, but the data's been set.
And so I'm curious, Lee, in other situations, do you know of times where the ADSB data has been spoofed for nefarious purposes and not just this trolling?
Oh, yes.
Larry's a better expert on that.
Oh, okay.
And I'm maybe confusing a little bit here between ADSB and GPS. I don't know of a lot of opportunities that ADSB has been spoofed, but GPS is more likely to have been spoofed or misdirected.
But I'm just thinking you could do some interesting things sending out bogus transponder information.
Right, because I was thinking if you wanted to distract law enforcement or military or something, if you're going to start showing, hey, here's this giant cluster of something that shouldn't be there and it's not just JD Vance's face.
Yep.
Then you start derailing responders, human responders by showing fake data.
Now imagine if you got that mission in mind and like your dad, you have your own plane and you could fly it around while somebody else is messing with the settings on what's where.
Yep. Right, exactly. And Mandy, to your point, this was it was pre-COVID, so I want to say 2018 or 2019. We really started to get access to ADSB from a software-defined radio perspective. And Renderman had a talk at DEF CON where he had talked with the FAA because he was able to capture ADSB and was able to see where aircraft were. It was known, but if you can decode the protocol, you allegedly have everything you need to be able to encode the protocol, so you could create your own transmissions.
Yep.
And he worked with a few radio friends and some pilots, talked to some pilots, and actually spoofed his own aircraft data into the air in a controlled circumstance into a flight simulator. From my understanding, it was a very very high-end flight simulator, actually used to train like commercial pilots and so forth. And as part of that, his intent was to spoof erroneous data into the air, because ADSB is one of the systems that is used to determine flight path altitude adjustment for autopilot.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And what he really wanted to do was to say, hey, there's a plane right in front of you on your heading at your same altitude, and have those systems make some decisions about
Just through the
potentially changing
simulator.
altitude. Yeah, through the simulator, to have that aircraft like descend.
Pull up.
Yeah, or descend, and then descend again, and descend to negative 14 feet below sea level. And at the time, he was largely successful in diverting aircraft in a simulator using spoofed ADSB messages, and I think that really changed about leveraging multiple systems to make those decisions. So,
well, as a consequence, there are actually now ADSB interference or ADSB spoofing detection and systems to validate that your ADSB position is actually accurate, because they're seeing it more and more. It's happening a lot. It is not an isolated instance here or there, apparently, which I did not know, and that's a little scary.
Like Larry said, if you can receive, you can transmit. This is just coming off a little Raspberry Pi with a software-defined radio hooked to a big antenna. I mean, this is not, I mean, because of the antenna, I think I spent $100, but
yeah, for the receive side. Yeah, no, the transmit side.
Yeah.
And arguably the transmit side wouldn't be terribly difficult, except it's illegal, because
1,090
megahertz
we're ignoring
licensed spectrum.
Yeah, don't ignore that Lee isn't going to go to jail to do this, but
right.
But my point is, it wouldn't be hard to go to transmitting. The legality, of course, is the number one deterrent. Yes,
And
it's just as I won't do jamming either. Same reason.
Right. How much does this impact what air traffic controllers at large or international airports would be seeing?
Ooh,
I don't think it's common.
Yeah, that's a great.
I think that's part of the
question.
anti-spoofing stuff Joff was mentioned, is that it's not that common. Plus, I think they have multiple. It's not a single data point.
Yeah.
Well, they're using this thing called radar.
Right.
That'll never
In
catch
addition to-
on.
I got news for you, Jeff. They use some radar.
Yeah.
But the problem is that air traffic control has, as much as they like to think they have very little redundancy.
Right. Well,
I am well aware.
I was thinking less redundancy and more multiple data sources.
They have
radar,
very few of those.
ADSB, and other information about the aircraft coming in.
What else are they going to get? They've got radar and ADSB. That's it. And verbal. This is where we are over the radio.
And I think there's another one. MLAT is one of those other protocols too.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, I did a security review of a project that was in development when I first went to work for AT&T. So this was probably 2014. And it was a development project to replace radar with GPS-based, a GPS-based system. Don't know that that's ever caught on, and for good reasons. But I wonder if what year did ADSB this stuff come about? Do you know? Anyone, Larry?
So ADSB had been around for a while. ADSB was transponders were required to be on, and I think it's any commercial aircraft inbound to the U.S. as of 2020. So right during COVID, it was like in the first 6 months of the whole COVID mess with lockdowns and stuff. Those aircraft were required to be equipped with it if you were flying into U.S. airspace. I am not positive about hobbyist aircraft or personal aircraft, but it was definitely on the commercial side.
Okay, I think you're right. 1920. So it was after the project that I was working on that was supposed to be GPS.
GPS radar is still, according to the magic of Google, radar is still used, but it's a secondary to GPS. So it's a backup system, which is great. It's a redundant system. Thank God we still have it. Okay.
Yep. But, great. But but Joshua, that's great. Like GPS is meant to receive where you are on the planet. But now, how is the aircraft telling other systems where it is on the planet?
ADSB.
Okay. And potentially, and I was just looking a little bit MLAT.
And MLAT, but that's trigonometry from ground stations. Yeah.
Correct.
So they have some redundancy. However, probably due to things like budget cuts and simply not maintaining older technology, I would be willing to bet money that outside of major metropolitan airports, there is very little redundancy left.
Mm-hmm.
And as an information security and compliance guy, that scares the hell out of me.
Right. So
I'm flying.
He says as he's getting ready to fly on a
quick
plane.
look up on MLAT, which looks like it's using multiple sources of telemetry data to accurately position a radar. It's designed to make up for the lack of radar, but it's also got it's multiple points.
Yep.
So it's multiple ground points picking It's triangulation from the ground of the signal from the plane. But
long story short,
it's still I'm sure there's still good hacks for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to spoof a lot of this stuff, though. That's the scary part.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically trivial to spoof some of this stuff.
But what's the consequences of spoofing it?
Jail if you get caught.
Well, I mean, I think to Mandy's point, what's the consequences to those that are having to rely on this data to make good decisions about aircraft flying into airports, aircrafts flying into aircrafts?
The good news is there'd be very few survivors to bury.
Yeah, well,
Why?
the
Because
question
they're
is,
small
which
planes?
country do you bury them in?
No, big planes. When they hit, there's nothing left.
Oh, okay.
And I thought he was also quoting from the old joke about when you
Yeah.
have a plane crash right on the border, where do you bury
the
survivors?
survivors, yeah.
Right, I was, but it's like there is, oh God, what movie was it? Die Hard 2 or something like that, where they
Yes.
moved the ground layer 200 feet down or something.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
And you're talking about being able to do something like that rather than taking over an airport, being able to do it from your car
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
Yep.
Scary but cool.
Hey,
What's next?
I was going to say, instead of like bogarting stories like Paul normally would, anybody
Too
else
late.
got a story? Everybody else got a story they want to talk about here?
Oh,
wonder what
Jeff's
Jeff
number one.
wants to
Jeff's
talk
number
about.
one.
Yeah.
Jeff's number one.
Yeah. Jeff.
Jeff.
What was my number one?
Let's take their ball
the
and go
CISA
home from
at
RSAC.
Oh, I mean, I only jumped back on the show last week. Did you guys talk about the fact that Jen Easterly was
Nope.
We did not, which is what
all
I was
right.
going to bring
that
up
she-
right now.
Now the CISO, I mean, the
CEO? She
CEO,
became-
excuse me, for RSAC.
She was announced
or she-
just a couple. It was right around an episode, so I wasn't sure if it was covered or not. But Jen Easterly was named CEO of RSAC, so she's running the conference now.
Mhm.
And and then it came out yesterday or today that CISA is not sending any of their people to RSA and RSAC conference anymore, and neither is the FBI or NSA. We're usually one or two booths down from Alan Schimmel when we're out there at Broadcast Alley. So this is his article, which I think the tone is probably what we all feel about. The government pulling their people out because Jen Easterly has been now put in charge of something that's a reasonable, we could argue the merits of the decision to put her in the position, but I think it's a pretty decent position. I think most people would agree with that.
Yeah, it's what a bad idea putting a well-known, incredibly articulate, serious professional who is just an absolute solid person in charge of one of the biggest conferences in InfoSec. What's wrong with these people? Why would they do something like that? You should put a Fox News host that has no idea about information security in charge of it. I mean, come on.
And I'm going to hold my breath until you do.
So Alan was like, I remember seeing this behavior later on in the article from my children, but they grew out of it.
I that's what I don't get. Are they cutting off their nose to spite their face, or is there some there? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's really simple. They're cutting off their nose to spite their face because they're stomping their foot and acting like a 7-year-old. I should know. I have a 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get that part, but I'm just kind of going, but this, I mean, I can imagine a couple of folks doing that, but a whole agency, that seems weird.
Well, and especially when certain agencies are framing their mission around collaboration with the private sector and trying to do more and more with the private sector. And I
weird.
brought it up. I mean, there's a lot that's going on that I think ultimately impacts our mission as cybersecurity, information security professionals. But this one was just kind of an easy one to ease into that conversation.
I mean, this is weird behavior. And it also looks, I mean, they disappeared from the agenda. I don't know if that's because they dropped out or somebody,
No,
is there another side of the story?
They had people that were going to be speaking, gone. They had people participating in panels, gone. Booths, gone.
Yeah. I was going to say, didn't they have booths and that type of stuff?
Now, was there any more information? This isn't something that came perhaps from Jen Easterly's side or camp going like, oh, we kind of extending the go ahead and don't come vibe?
Oh, I highly doubt it.
See, I would too, but I'm just asking.
Who are you asking? Jen? Are you
Well,
asking?
I mean, like, Mandy, I'm sorry. What are you asking?
Jen at the second. So I'm asking, I'm throwing it out there. I don't know if that's a devil's advocate. I don't think that's what it is, but just saying like, I mean, does she harbor feelings of being removed?
I was looking forward to this episode so that, we don't have to talk EUFI. We can perhaps philosophize about cybersecurity for a little bit. No offense,
Please.
Paul. Not that he's going to listen to an episode he's not on. But maybe he's listening now. I don't know. What's he doing tonight anyway?
His kid has a game.
Okay, so he probably is listening.
Or something, yeah.
But as much talk as there's been in our industry over the last, I don't know, forever, about the need for more collaboration between the private sector and the public sector. And I would argue, because I dabble more and more in public sector and DOD and military, national defense type of stuff these days, because I'm on adjacent ancillary boards and things like that. But most of what people that are coming from the private sector and the government talk about when they're talking about the private sector is really what I would call a subculture, the whole government contractor and support infrastructure to the government in the first place. I think there's a private sector out there that is independent of that they have very little exposure to or experience with, other than, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, enterprises, the big guys. There's clearly a need for collaboration, and there's clearly a need for all sorts of information sharing, knowledge sharing, threat sharing, and so on and so forth. How this sets back our entire industry, I don't know. And what do we do about it? I mean, the private sector, in my opinion, is much more agile in terms of seeing a need and doing something. having a budget or being able to shake loose the budget.
Yeah.
Whereas, the government and government support system tends to be a lot slower and more compliance driven or governance driven. I mean, Josh, how long has CMMC been around trying to get off the ground at this point?
I was on the working groups in 2021 and part of 2020. It was supposed to be off the ground in 2021, 2022. It's 2026, and they just put it into law, and they haven't even made it mandatory yet for a lot of people. Right. So the gold rush that was supposed to have happened for the last 5 years, we're still freaking waiting on. It's been an absolute nightmare. I will also tell you that, there's been several people that we know that have tried to make the government faster. You'll recall Mudge with Cyber Fast Track, as awesome as he is. And you'll recall that Alan Friedman worked really hard, and several people, and God, what's her name now? I'm blanking. At the Federal Trade Commission, they were, they had the thing at DEF CON where it was the robocalling game they had. There've been quite a few great people that have worked very, very hard to make the federal government more responsive, more agile, more in tune with the commercial world.
Yeah,
and yet, they got rid of all those people. And
got rid of or forced out.
Well said. And so what do we do now? We go back to where the government is a black hole, where we send information and nothing happens, where we ask for help and we get nothing, where this is pitiful. This is absolutely pitiful.
I will say that
it means we have to make it up in the private sector.
I know that, I know in talking to my local Idaho CISA guy, he still wants to help, even though he's hamstrung from above on stuff. I think the average worker bee, if you'll forgive the cliche, does still want to do all the right stuff, but there's pressure from above that doesn't allow them. I'd also say the more highly regulated you are, the less agile you are when it comes to getting things done.
Okay, yes, but I want you to point your words back at you, Lee. The worker bees are trying to get things done. They're trying to help.
They are. Yeah, they are.
But they're hamstrung by by the budget and the pressure and the political pressure from above.
Yes.
When the government agents are working really hard to help the private people and the private companies, and they can't do it because of what's going on above them, that's either a significant problem with them or significant problem with what's above. I'm going to tell you that right now, in my opinion, it's what's above.
That's my opinion as well.
And
that was what I was trying to say. It may not be what came out of my mouth, but that's what
it did. But I'm being just very clear. And it means that we're going to have no cooperation, no help, no coordination in the face of increasing AI co-opetition or co-option of writing malware and threat intelligence and everything else. Having a competent, agile, useful government agency to help us coordinate and bring all this information together, threat intelligence, IOCs, indicators of compromise, indicators of everything, would be amazing and wonderful and helpful. And CISA was working really hard on that for the longest time.
Yeah, they were.
By the way, under Jen Easterly as well.
They lost their guide star.
Yeah. Now, good luck.
Oh, now you alluded to the leadership being the Fox News hosts. I know they're both named Sean. There's the new U.S. cyber director and the new head of CISA, both named Sean. Is it the CISA guy that's the Fox News host?
I don't honestly know. I was just
director. One is actually got a background. I should look it up, but one actually has a decent background in cybersecurity, and the other one, came from marketing or something. I don't think they were a Fox News host, but they were head of a CPAC or something like that.
I was just commenting on what seems to be the route to success.
Right.
You can become a department to figure it out leader. I don't know. Anyway.
But all that to say is I don't know that there is a government strategy right now. And one of the concerns that I think was cited in this article, or it might have been another one I was reading, maybe that's another article I put in here. It's related, I think. My number 6 article is the the lack or the not liking what's coming out of the government in terms of an AI policy, and a lot of state CISOs are basically ignoring what's coming out of the government and trying to write their own AI policy that actually has teeth and means something. So I had 2 articles about CISA, 1 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, we we talk about losing Jen Easterly, and the comment was missing their guiding star. I think that's kind of an interesting comment, given that one of the other stories that I had in there was my story number 6. Trump's acting cyber chief uploaded sensitive files into a public version of ChatGPT.
Hey, at least it wasn't Signal. Oh, wait.
No, but that wasn't actually Signal. That was some other thing wrapping Signal and didn't have good security. But yeah, it's the same. I was thinking same stuff, different day when I saw that one.
Nothing is good security when you add a reporter to the group. But anyway.
Gee, why?
And when you upload something into a public version of ChatGPT, look, I've spent the last 3 years explaining to companies how to protect their data from LLMs and how to use LLMs while still protecting their data. Okay, and making sure that no idiot uploaded intellectual property into a public or free ChatGPT or ChatGPT clone. And if I can do this for the past 3 years, I'm fairly certain there's some people in the government that are capable of explaining this. Of course, it only matters if they bloody well listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do I know?
Well, it is interesting to think that now that data is in there, it's part of OpenAI's information, so it can be used to answer any query from any user.
Yep.
That's brilliant, Mandy. Lovely point. Well said.
Yeah. Because arguably it was submitted to the public model without, I'm guessing without enterprise level account. It could be used for training data.
Right. Well, it would be. I mean, if I'm understanding it correctly, it would be open access data to.
It's part of the shared data environment. That's the. Just to be clear, that's the key phrase. In a free LLM like ChatGPT or OpenAI or whatever, any of the free LLMs where you are the product, right. You are providing them with shared data environment on the prompt, which is what you ask, the output, which is the answer you get, and every aspect of data in an LLM is a shared data environment in a free one. And the closer you get to a private LLM where I run it, it's my data, it's my model, it's my weights, it's my everything, that's where it's all private data. But in between, there's also like managed LLMs and there's enterprise account LLMs, like, Microsoft 365 Copilot, or, even a paid account on ChatGPT Enterprise, is it? Whatever.
Yep.
Those restrict the shared data environment. But in a free GPT, good bloody Lord, everything's shared. And Mandy, you're absolutely right. Now those files are part of, hey, what's the secret American war plan on how to do this? Here you go.
So, and it looks like
so clarification. I looked it up because I hate throwing misinformation out there. Sean Cairncross, used to run the Republican National Committee at some level. He became the U.S. Cyber Director. He was nominated early last year and was put into office, I think, in August. The guy that has been nominated and renominated to run CISA, Sean Planky. Yep. He's actually got a cybersecurity background. He's got a really long track record. I know people that know him think he's a great guy. Still hasn't been confirmed as of when the Senate adjourned in December. So CISA's still kind of operating headless, except for somebody there is making a decision to not go to RSA conference. And I don't know what their mission is, if they're supposed to be collaborating and getting buy-in from the private sector, and yet they don't participate in the biggest, arguably, cybersecurity conference that brings the government and the private sector together on an annual basis. That's my clarification.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Hey, so to to get through some more stories here to sort of round this trifecta of the U.S. government stuff.
Because we need more.
Because we need more. Lee, you had a very interesting story here that I called out at the beginning about your story number 6, OMB rescinds software attestation order.
Yeah, so there was an order that came out a couple of years ago that said basically you needed come up here in fiscal year 18, and then a follow-on in 22, and a follow-on in 23, basically saying that we need attestation on software quality, and it's what it's comprised of. And I mean, the vendors weren't super inclined to do it, but it was a requirement, which they just in January 23rd, they just backed that off. And what I'm wondering about that is, are they giving up on attestation of software quality, which is bad? I mean, agencies can voluntarily choose to do it. Or are they are we lining up for a bigger push toward HBOM, SBOM, and what will be renamed FBOM? The firmware.
Yep.
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
So one of the things, Katie Arrington, who just recently left as the CIO of the Department of Defense, had put forward a few different initiatives. One was SWIFT, SWFT, for software future technology or something like that. It was, and there was another one which was the software construct, CSRMC, I forget. But anyway, the point is they want to move things. And then this FedRAMP 20X, which is a new thing about FedRAMP, they want to move things forward very, very fast so that agencies can use commercial off-the-shelf software without having to go through $1 million in a year or more of work to get it FedRAMP approved or CMMC approved or whatever. And that includes SBOMs and HBOMs and things like that. If they're redoing that, rescinding that, they're scrambling. Like that's a lot of work that's going to have to be redone.
Yeah. But the stuff they're rescinding is stuff that would slow down that adoption. Remember FedRAMP was intended to speed up the process of adopting cloud services, but it doesn't really. I mean, it does speed it up in some respects, but it also puts such a high degree of rigor.
Was the ramp implied to be going down or going up? Out of curiosity. Somewhat of a serious question.
Yeah. Jeff, it's like the ramp you see on the back of a tailgate where someone's trying to load their ATV on it, and as they go up and they get right to the end, it either crashes,
it drops off,
they give it a little gas, and the whole ramp just flings right out from underneath them, and they crash into the tailgate. That's your ramp, I think. Sorry,
I mean, it's a risk and management. It's a risk and authorization management program. That's RAMP. And the odd part is, a few years ago, they decided FedRAMP wasn't good enough for the states, so they created StateRAMP with a whole new set of attestation processes for software.
Was it not good enough, or was it too hard and cumbersome?
I don't know, but it on the surface they looked the same, except it didn't have the requirement to have a .gov email address to be part of it. Which most states do have .gov email. I don't know. I don't get it. It seemed redundant to me, unless it significantly lowered the burden. Well,
Maryland uses md.us.
Idaho uses idaho.gov.
But the StateRAMP program has mostly just copied the FedRAMP directly down.
Yeah, I know. It's like, so, but they didn't address the fundamental problem of it's still quite a heavy lift to get an authorization for a FedRAMP solution in many cases. You can't just go get it, follow the security guide and go. You actually have to do a whole bunch of work. But
that sounds really hard.
It is. I've done it a dozen times or more. You get faster as you learn how to answer the question, but it's the same thing with a FISMA security plan. You learn how to reuse answers for things you are already doing and focus on the things you just have to implement. But it takes a long time to get there. Anyway, but I like I said, so that's why I put the question in there: Are we moving toward something else, or what?
Yeah.
But
And Lee, when I read that, I'm like, that's brilliant, because I think really the answer is, why don't we have both?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I may have a little bit of a different perspective. Paul talks about UEFI. Sorry, Jeff. And, I'd talk about S-bombs and H-bombs and any of this type of stuff.
Mentioning it in passing is okay, Larry. It's if you
Okay.
have an actual article or 10 about
that, which I have neither. I just have opinions about ones that mention it. So, and for Lee, this one, I mean, this sort of removal of the attestations and that type of stuff, it seems to be driving us towards S-bombs and H-bombs, which for me is a great thing.
Yeah.
But I also see some other really interesting stuff here, in that if you think about the federal government now, lightening the restrictions about the type of software you can use, because you have to do much lighter attestation, arguably, about what is being used in the federal government, and having that lighter sort of touch, quote, to maintain a complete inventory of software and hardware, and develop software and hardware assurance policies and processes that match their risk determination and mission needs. Yet, the lawmakers create connected vehicle rule, which basically within the next 2 to 3 years here, a very short period of time, if you are going to be selling connected vehicle technology in the United States, you have to do hardware and software attestation. That none of it has been manufactured or written by those that are in China or Russia.
Oh, good luck with
I'm
that.
telling you right now, that's
Do you
impossible. Every electric vehicle has so many components that are manufactured in China. Many of them are designed in Russia, simply because that's where you can get cheap designs done, quality cheap designs.
Josh, this is a problem that we deal with, that I personally deal with every day in my day job.
I believe it.
But the connected vehicle rule is a thing. It is arguably law, that if you want to have your connected portions of your vehicle available in vehicles, and I think it's starting 2027 or 2028, it must be free of both hardware and software components created or crafted in China or Russia.
Who or what agency is going to be reviewing all this code to look for violations or infractions?
That's a great question. I have
No idea. What is
I
the
don't.
fine? Because I mean, it's not an uncommon business practice for companies to just consider fines and scrutiny as a cost of doing business.
I am going to guess that it is Department of Commerce. Yep. So as of model year 2027, prohibits the sales of connected vehicles by connected vehicle manufacturers owned, controlled by, or subject to the jurisdiction or direction of China, Russia, and vehicles using their covered software. And as of model year 2023, prohibits the imports of VCS hardware from companies owned, controlled by, or subject to the jurisdiction or direction of China or Russia. And this rule went into effect March 17th of last year.
So
And
in theory, it's already not allowed. So they're trying to weed it out over time. It sounds
Yep.
like.
Yep, exactly.
But again,
And,
but who's checking?
Commerce. Department of Commerce.
Yep, NOICTS.
Right. And they're required to send annual attestations.
So this is, I'm going to
Receiving an
mild-
attestation and testing and reviewing code are way two different things.
Yeah, but I'm going to mildly tangent here for just a second. As an
Okay.
industry, we are moving towards continuous security, continuous compliance, and continuous attestation. Okay?
Mhm.
In many, many standards, that's what's required, especially in the EU, and it is filtering over to us in the US. Just take it for granted for a minute, okay? If that is the case, and if self-attestation based on these things is now out of, like, you're not doing self-attestation, are they simply moving toward, but they're doing it because they're stating that it's too onerous, it's too much of a burden, right? That's the first paragraph of the rescinding order. If that's the case, are they moving to simply requiring a CMMC-like or FedRAMP-like professional attestation? And it may have been explicit, but it's not been practiced, Jeff, in PCI. So how often do you audit it in PCI?
It was when I was the QSA.
No, it wasn't. How often do you audit as a QSA?
I don't audit it at all. I've never done an audit, actually.
How often do you assess as a QSA?
Once a year.
Okay, so it's not continuous. Next. Anyway, so we're talking about continuous assessment.
Nobody can afford that.
Yes, they can.
No, they can't.
It's actually
it
pretty
would be
cheap.
automated.
Yeah, that's the point. It's going to be automated, continuous, and
So
then
the
once
things
a
that
year.
I've been looking for since 2010 are show me that you're doing the things hourly that you're supposed to do hourly, daily that you're supposed to.
Oh
be doing
yeah.
daily.
No, that's right. That's right.
And so the company is expected to be doing continuous. They didn't call it continuous assessment. They called it continuous compliance.
Right. Whatever the term is, but we're talking the same language, right? I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be doing it, and then once a year you're
Swahili,
checking it.
I think is what we're talking.
Vaguely. But they're supposed to be doing it continuously, and then you're supposed to check it once a year, right? Am I paraphrasing?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So the problem is that we need something that is checking it on a continuous basis, that is actually performing the security and compliance checks and balance stuff, all of the controls, all the compensating controls, all the pieces, if you will, and then checking it, assessing it continuously, and then doing another level assessment, like a human-based assessment, once every quarter, 6 months, year, whatever it is. Okay? If they're saying that it's too onerous to do a self-attestation, which is the least onerous thing you can do in, it's, for example, PCI, right? Then what replaces it? I'm wondering if they're either dropping it to the individual agencies to have their own standards, or if they're planning on doing it something like CMMC, where there's a government-wide standard, not just do a self-attestation, but there's actually a certification standard. And that's fascinating, because for a while there, GSA and OMB were actually looking at CMMC as doing it government-wide. As a matter of fact, IRS started moving that way, GSA started moving that way, OMB started moving that way. Now they've since sort of paused it, but it's some fascinating stuff. I'm sorry, just it's where I live. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
I mean, Josh, we need something to fill in the UEFI passion, right?
We should spend the whole time talking PCI and CMMC.
Oh, I can talk. I can spend days talking about that shit. Sorry. Keep going. What's the next article? Come on.
Zero Trust is clearly the future as threats get faster, quieter, and harder to detect. But implementing it shouldn't disrupt the business. ThreatLocker enforces default deny at execution in a way that remains enterprise-ready, scalable, and operationally clean. Unknown software is stopped cold, trusted apps stay contained, and drift is locked down across the environment. It's Zero Trust that works in real enterprises and prepares you for the threats ahead. See why CISOs are adopting it at securityweekly.com/ThreatLocker.
Yeah. Mandy, did you have anything that struck you that you want to talk about?
Oh, there were a few.
Decurmudgeonizes.
I'm curious on Lee's 7. The Arctic Wolf, the malicious configuration changes on the FortiGate devices via SSO accounts.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, FortiCloud single sign-on for the admin interface is basically compromised, and that was actually, I think, it was a flaw from a little bit ago, but they started seeing, Arctic Wolf started seeing exploits on it, and let's see, there was a couple of things that was actually all released in December. So, and they were getting malicious single sign-on logins. So they're saying, hey, wait a minute, you should disable that. Fortinet admitted there was a problem, but initially they were like, no. But Arctic Wolf did put out the IOCs.
Let's be clear. I heard from a few friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 0-day that is actively being exploited in the wild.
Yeah.
If you are running a FortiGate with FortiCloud SSO, turn it off right now.
You forgot the word stinking.
Right bloody now.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, seriously, this is a go log. I don't care if you're listening. Go log in and shut it off.
Yeah.
And to the point here, because of the I didn't dig into it too much, but the FortiCloud single sign-on stuff is effectively allowing authenticated sessions to the FortiGate to be able to manipulate the device, compromise it, reconfigure it, you name it, because
Right.
there's some specific flaws with the FortiCloud single sign-on stuff.
Right. And one of the most common is they create another account that then they use for the actual exploit. So you got to watch for unexpected accounts.
Right.
And if you find one, kind of game over, man. But, well, you got to essentially reset your device.
Nothing that continuous assessment won't catch.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Right, Josh?
Well, I mean, you should be monitoring.
You should be monitoring activity. So yes, to an extent, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
the-
quite honestly, successful logins, like in the Arctic Wolf technical details portions, that malicious logins are typically against a specific email, cloud-init@mail.io, and there's an actual log of a successful login with that account. Like,
Bada bing.
logging your successful logins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And by the way, this is, FortiGates had to run a bad luck. We're not trying to throw them under the bus. It's just, hey, this is bad. Go address it.
They're I'm not throwing them under the bus. FortiGate typically has pretty good. I'm fairly sure they have a current bug bounty program, and they do good work. Not yelling at them. It's just it's their turn in the barrel.
Yeah. So there was a quote from our buddy Ed.
And it's only
the
a
irony is-
6-shooter.
Yeah, the irony, Josh, it wasn't even that kind of barrel. That Josh, I got that. I read that joke the other day, so that even is even better.
Yeah. I really liked what Ed Scotus had to say about this one, and that was because it affects a fully patched device. It's like there are few phrases that are as haunting to cybersecurity professional as this one: unexpected high login activity on their fully patched devices. But here we are. That's kind of a gut punch, right?
Yeah.
You've done everything you're supposed to do, and this still doesn't work. And I mean, and as I recall, if the SSO, I'm trying to remember if the SSO was enabled by default or not, or if you had to explicitly enable it. Well, you would have had to set it up. I'm skimming and I don't see it, but that's okay. If it's setting up SAML from scratch is non-trivial. It's not hard, but it's not just a click. It's easy to turn this off, which is nice.
It is, but I'm confused. So it says to turn it off, and then the very last sentence of this article, I feel like is a bit of a cut punch, because it says, due to the uncertainty around the initial access method in this campaign, it is not known if this workaround will be fully effective.
Yeah. In other words, if they've got another login to your system, or if there's another flaw they're using to get in, and then they could turn it back on.
Yeah. Yeah. There was
I guess
some
if
other
you're
ones.
in, why do you need to turn it on? You're in.
There was some other suggestions that I saw, and I could be completely insane on this too. That part of the issue was around the whole SSO infrastructure, and there was ways for them to basically inject SAML data and get authentication. So regardless of whether it was disabled, maybe some other interaction could potentially still gain access.
Right. And that's where one of my thoughts is, really restrict the access to the management interface always. I mean, that's not necessarily consistent with zero trust, but oops, Josh disappeared again.
Yep.
What did you do, Mandy?
He just turned off his FortiGate.
I said I mean, that to me, I feel like it's a drum I'm always beating. Don't expose your management interface to the internet. In fact, limit what can access it, period. If you want to get, because it's game over if somebody gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, how many places have you got people managing your devices from? I mean, come on. This shouldn't be a hard problem.
There's home, there's the coffee shop.
Yeah. And it's
Germany.
so hard to set up a VPN or something, right?
There's the Golden Corral.
Well,
There's the public library.
Which public library, Jeff? All of them.
I'm just thinking all of them. I'm thinking wherever.
well,
we can
just,
get
you know what?
public
That's a lot of lines. I'll just use an asterisk. It'll be easier.
Yeah. 0.0.0.0/0.
Yeah. Wildcards are nice. They're fun to match.
it works.
You're a pain in the ass.
Yes, I am.
Sorry about that. My headset died.
It's okay.
Say the regular people keep losing the Joshua people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody needs to lose the Mandy people.
So, I mean,
It's just the way it is.
if we could switch the version 1 cell phone articles of yours, Larry.
That was
I
my
thought-
next go, please.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been getting asked to look at cell phone security and all that type of stuff a lot, and it's arguably very difficult because of the laws here in this country, the license frequencies that cellular stuff transmits on, and so forth. But it was fascinating to see this particular article, and I'd love to learn, or it's not this article, this YouTube video, and I'd love to specifically learn more, because what ended up happening here is this particular individual, had a bunch of stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I remember back in the day when my dad or my uncle could take this Ericsson phone and key in this thing, and then he could get it to tune to other people's cell calls." And I was like, okay. And what he ended up doing was basically recreating a 1GPP cellular network. So first gen cellular network, which all the cellular networks, instead of doing channel hopping and frequency hopping, any of that type of stuff, each call was given its own set of spectrum, an individual channel with a channel width, some to be able to conduct its call, and when you hang up and you'd get a new channel to make your new call, and it was all unencrypted, basically FM radio over the air, and you just needed to have the right equipment to tune in to those particular calls happening on any given channel.
So it's
Totally
almost like
secure.
It's almost like you took the model for your wireless phone in the house and expanded it to a cellular network.
Exactly. Like the
Those
old
had
school,
nominal encryption.
Yeah, the old school 900 megahertz wireless
exactly.
headsets that it used to have the antenna that you could pull all the way up and you could walk all the way out into the backyard and it still worked. Yeah,
That you could sword fight with, dude.
Yeah.
Well, and since they weren't encrypted in any way, is that basically that people were just missing having party lines?
Oh, touche.
Yeah, and arguably, Mandy, at the time, they didn't think they needed encryption for any of this stuff, or they didn't think they needed privacy, because arguably the barrier to entry to get access to equipment that could listen to those specific frequencies was difficult. There were arguably some ham radio operators that were homebrewing their own stuff that could get there. And then later, stuff became more democratized, where you could use like one of the police handheld police scanners to do the same thing.
Well, do you see this comment? They're referencing using an LTV with a UHF tuner.
Yeah. Yep. If you knew what you were doing.
Yeah. But remember back in the day, if you knew what you were doing, that when the cable boxes weren't encrypting their premium channels, you just tuned between a couple of channels until you found them. It's the same idea. That they thought they had done the risk analysis and thought the bar was high enough that was good enough, and obviously they had to adapt. I mean, we don't do this anymore. I mean, I think it'd be really cool to have some of that gear just to see what you could intercept just for fun. But obviously, we can't do that in the U.S. But and looking at the images that go with this article, I'm seeing some stuff I haven't seen for a while. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Larry had some of those in inventory somewhere in a box.
You know, the irony, the beginning of that article, the picture there with the Nokia phones, the ones that they joke about, will survive the next ice age. You can use them as a hammer. Yep, exactly. And last I knew, I was just down in the basement searching through some inventory for some stuff right before the show. I think I still have a box that has some of those hammers. I mean, cell phones in them.
I figured you would.
Yep.
There's no network,
picture
but
where one of them was paved into a road.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Love that.
But
so yeah, I think
repair brick. Yes.
Yep. That and for the record, they may be nearly indestructible. They are not waterproof. Because that phone on the one that's in the front image of that article, the blue lie one, I had one of those. That was one of my first cell phone, and I actually dropped it in the toilet. It did not survive. So, ask me how I know this.
Hey, Lee, your comment about wanting to try with see what other gear can actually pick up the first gen cellular transmissions. And I just feel like unless I'm picking it up by the fillings in my teeth, it doesn't really matter.
Well, no. Yeah, okay. Those are some wicked fillings, Mandy.
Was there a Mexican radio tower that was so powerful that if you were nearby, you could actually pick it up on the fillings in your teeth?
Where?
Yes.
I mean, I remember references to this, and isn't it referenced in Bare Naked Lady songs too?
Potentially.
And
I can't remember. There was a famous actress that actually had this happen, and it may have been Betty White.
Oh! She had a temporary, like almost an aluminum filling or something.
Yeah, it was a temporary crown or something.
Acting like on stage, and it was happening, and she was freaking out because radio broadcasts were coming through the microphone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the topic of many sitcom episodes in the 60s. I want to say it was on the Dick Van Dyke Show one time.
See, and I was remembering the scenes from
Dennis the
Real
Menace,
Genius, where they were using the braces to receive radio transmits. Remember that? Another fun kind of hacker movie.
Lucille Ball. Ball.
Bless her heart.
In 1974, told TV host Dick Cavett that during World War II, she picked up radio broadcaster dental fillings and allegedly heard spies in 1942.
How cool is that? I mean, it probably was annoying, but how cool.
Yep. She reported hearing music and later signals that sounded like Morse code.
Cool. That's... Wow.
She was listening to a number station or something.
Yeah, so most likely.
Want to talk about BitLocker keys?
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about Microsoft.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So basically the headline is they got some legal orders for requests to recover drives, and Microsoft reached into their storage, picked out the BitLocker keys, which were not encrypted, and handed it to law enforcement to decode drives. Frankly, I'm a little worried that they can get at them. I mean, Apple and Google can't do that. If you store your encryption keys in their stuff, it's encrypted. You can't retrieve it except by your own credentials. It's sort of a convenience meets security thing. If you really should have a secondary storage for your BitLocker key, and by default, it stores into the Microsoft cloud, which is good in case you lose it, but bad if they can issue it. And I have this particular bias that people can create fake legal requests for that data and get it in ways you don't want them to. I mean, that may be unfounded, but that's where I go. When I see
have you ever
something
seen?
like this. I mean, it's great that Microsoft's helping law enforcement.
Josh is talking.
Go
and
for
I can't
it.
hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounded like
What's happened to your
Lucille's
microphone?
teeth.
Josh?
1, 2, testing.
There we go. Hello.
Better.
There we go. Okay.
Can we hear you now?
I hope so, because you're acting like it.
Mm-hmm. Different mug.
Yeah. Sorry, my headset died, which I didn't anticipate. Normally, it's got a good battery, but leave it out in the car for one day in 15-degree weather. What are you going to do? But do you remember like Ocean's 12? I think it was the movie where they drove in with a fleet of Land Rovers and picked all the people up with paperwork and such, and they looked all, and then it turned out it was his mom in the car picking him out of jail with some official-looking paperwork.
Vaguely, yes.
I used to work in a jail. It's not that hard.
Okay.
Like,
Point taken.
If it even vaguely looks right, we may call to clarify, but here, take him. Please get him out of here. It's actually not that hard to steal people from jail. Who wants them? Typically. So the point is that using faking official paperwork, it's not hard.
And this is how Josh has college degrees. It's okay.
No, I earned those degrees. All $20 worth. But it's, I went to a talk once from an FBI agent, and he said, when we say that we've lost something or we've misplaced a document? Yeah. And all of you are like, well, how do you misplace it? It's in your digital file store somewhere. Right. And he goes, no, we have file cabinets. It means somebody put the paper back in the wrong place. We'll find it 20 years from now when they go through that file cabinet.
Yep.
Or more importantly, they will not find it because everything in that file cabinet will have been determined to be old and no longer need to be kept, so they shred everything.
Well, we archived all that. It's okay. We have copies.
Paper copies. Paper copies.
Yep.
So that's crazy. So in that...
So the takeaway is don't use BitLocker.
No, the takeaway is
back it up on Microsoft.
Yeah, stick the code on a thumb drive or something else, but you gotta watch it. Or
anything that goes to Microsoft servers.
For those codes.
Yeah, for example, in a corporate environment, you can. Well, actually, it's changed. It used to be you could do the Microsoft BitLocker administration MBAM and have a local copy of your keys, but then that migrated to using the Microsoft Cloud.
Wait, but Lee, I think we're missing the point.
What's that?
It's my Microsoft account for my organization, my enterprise, my company, right? So I'm the admin. So yeah, you forgot your key, you got locked out, whatever. I can access the key.
Yes.
Why can Microsoft?
Why can Microsoft access it?
Great question.
Why do they have access to my company's keys?
They shouldn't. And that's why I was starting with that analogy to Apple and Google, where that isn't the case.
Right. So what we're saying is if you use Azure Active Directory with Intune and you're backing your keys up to your Intune, to your BitLocker keys up to your Intune vaults, does Microsoft have access to those? And if the answer is yes, then there's a supply chain vulnerability that is so big, it's literally a too big to fail vulnerability. And that's not cool.
It is not cool. I mean, it deserves some additional poking to find out, but I'm with you. That should not be the case. They should not be able to get at that. And
this is as bad as the UEFI boot. Had to bring it in somehow, right?
Yep. Oh. Yes, you did.
ESP32.
Well, I'll counter that with PCI does not allow the use of BitLocker to encrypt card data if for some reason you're still storing card data.
Yeah, what do they allow, Jeff?
They allow specific encryption of the data, not something that just transparently unlocks your system like a BitLocker. So you could use BitLocker if you had a separate login, a separate algorithm that was actually encrypting your data.
So it's still vulnerable.
Everything is vulnerable.
Well, yes, but the key is still being stored unbeknownst to you. It's not being stored. Sorry. The key is still being stored and accessible unbeknownst to you by a third party.
Yes, but it's not being used to protect card data, so I don't care.
It can be.
Not in and of itself.
Yes, it can.
No, it can't.
Yes, it can.
You can't use BitLocker
No,
to protect card data.
Yes, it can. No, it can't.
Not in and of itself. There's got to be
What?
a separate algorithm, separate encryption, so that you're not logging in and transparently have access to the data in your database or wherever you're storing your card data.
I want to note.
New in version
Yes.
4, Josh.
Okay, that may be a misinterpretation.
Explicitly called out, sort of, as well as the council ever is explicit about anything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Thank
Is
you.
anybody besides me having clipper chip or flashbacks?
A little bit. Forteza cards.
Yeah.
It's a backdoor. Everybody has a backdoor. When Microsoft has a backdoor, only all the Microsoft contractors have the backdoor.
Mm-hmm. So much better.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. So be really careful storing your BitLocker key on anywhere that you don't control.
BYOK, bring your own key, everybody.
Yeah, and some of the recommendations I ran across says don't use BitLocker, use their product favorite fill-in here. Which the problem is BitLocker's just there and it works.
I honestly don't know if
Valve and
my
BitLocker are
work
just there and
laptop
they work
has
and it's
BitLocker.
good.
Well, and the default is for it to be stored in Windows.
Yeah, but you don't
I mean, it
have to.
doesn't
You
have
can
to be.
disable that. Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't have to be. It can be changed.
I'm
Speaking-
surprised they
spe-
only get 20 requests a year, honestly. I felt like it would have been more.
20 legitimate requests.
Speaking of keys, one of the stories that I had in, and we definitely have some more Microsoft stuff in here that I'd love to go back to. Speaking of keys, though, was my story number 4. Yeah, the defunct scooter company and the default key. Let's see, it's very much a hardware thing here. But so this one's about a gentleman who has a scooter, an e-scooter from an Estonian scooter company that went bankrupt last year. And as a result, none of the cloud functionality of the scooter worked and any of those types of things. And nobody else's would work either. So he set about trying to basically recreate any of the scooter's back-end functionalities, effectively to be able to re-enable people's scooters, to keep the sort of the brand alive, not necessarily the brand alive, but keep people's investments alive. And what he found as part of doing some of the reverse engineering of the app and the hardware is that there were a bunch of hard-coded keys, one of them a string of all Fs.
Nice.
And ultimately, as a result of his analysis there, of the Bluetooth and the app stuff, the BLE private key was a string of all Fs, and I can't count because there's too many repeating. And was able to generate and find challenge response UUIDs and all this good stuff. And he basically wrote an app that he could send commands to any one of the scooters for that were in presence for this company. So he's got basically unrestricted access to all the scooters.
And then, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you're basically trying to get back the functionality you had before they went out of business. So
Yep.
Good on you. And then you discover, guess what? I got everybody.
Yeah. I love it. As shown in the output, the BLE private key value is a string of Fs. I suspected that this was meant to be unique between each scooter. This was also indicated by the software SDK for the IoT modules used in these scooters. In fact, the FF string of keys was default value in the SDK, which developers were expected to change. This was confirmed by a representative of the company who produces these modules when I reported the issue to them.
Nothing is so permanent as something that's supposed to be temporary.
Mm-hmm. True that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
So
built a model just to see if it would work. Put it in production now. But boss.
Yep.
Well, don't worry.
So-
We'll only put it in production for a little while.
20 years later.
yeah.
Yeah.
What if you
Well,
glued on that sucker to make it work?
Yeah. So he ends up writing a proof of concept Python script to authenticate and to any of the IEC scooters in the vicinity and start sending commands to it. It requires Python 3 and the Bleak library to run, and it's maybe 50 lines of code, if that. It's probably less than that. Yep, gotta love it. And the some of the commands that he has in the command that he has in the script is the unlock command. Yeah, unlock it so anybody can steal it. That's awesome.
It's crazy. It just, I remember articles, I don't know, a year or two ago, because the cities were picking up these scooters from wherever they were dropped, because you just drop them wherever, right?
Yeah.
And there were cities picking them up from places because they were dropped in places they weren't supposed to be parked. And then you could buy like 20 of these things at auction for $30.
Yep.
mhm.
And there were people that were like, look, if you buy this $20 board, or I forget if it's $20, $50, whatever, but a little board and replace it, boom, you've got an electric scooter for damn near nothing.
Yeah, I think that was Bird, wasn't it?
I think so.
By the way, that string is 16 Fs.
Okay. Thanks, Lee.
So
But yeah, I think
At least they were going for 16 to 18.
mhm. Yeah. But it's basically all ones. All the bits are on.
So close.
so close, so close.
I guess it's better than them being all off.
I mean, it was in the SDK. It's clear. It's clearly what was intended to be there. So, right,
Yeah.
right, Jeff, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a feature. not
I
a
mean-
bug.
I mean, good on him for figuring this out, but damn it for them being lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least they put in, what'd you say, 16 Fs?
Uh-huh.
So there's a hell of a lot of key space there for them to do unique IDs for each scooter. So they at least put it there. Whether they used it or not, apparently they didn't, is understandable, but at least they put it there. I mean, at one point, every Tesla had the same root password.
Mhm.
Okay, from what I'm given to understand.
And they don't now.
So, I have no idea if they don't now. So it's like the idea that it's the same idea basically. Every Tesla should have their own root password. Every single car,
Mhm.
every scooter should have its own root or unlock key or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
If they didn't, it's because they were probably busy adding another feature that some big client wanted or whatever.
So that's 64 bits of ones.
Entropy.
What's that? 64 bits of entropy is what? 1.8 million combinations, 2 to the 64, right?
To
Yep.
the 64. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Or not in 1.8 plus 19 more digits after the
Is it 2 to
decimal.
the 64 or 64 squared? I always get that messed up.
I don't know.
Well, since
Oh.
it's hex, I assume it's
You
hex.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's.
I think it's 64 squared.
No.
2 to the 64.
2 to the 64.
Okay.
16 possible values with 16
It's
possible
18.
values.
It's 18 quintillion.
Well,
The number we use daily.
You're right, because each one can be 16 different values. So it's 16 to the 16. It's not 64 bits because it's not zeros and ones. It's hex.
right.
Right. It's 60.
I
Yeah,
get
it's
your
18 quintillion bits, but that doesn't mean it's 18 quintillion
Bytes.
letters or what or bytes.
If a
or
byte
whatever.
has 8 bits and hex is 6 digits,
16.
Oh, 16. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It starts
16.
breaking down. I mean, F is 4 bits, right?
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, bytes 8 bits.
The world was a lot easier when we had 8-bit operating systems, and that was it. Just gonna say.
All you have to need is 640.
4-bit OSs will never die.
I just want to know when we're going to get 128-bit operating systems, right? 120th
The IPv6
processor.
is already here. That's all you need. Okay, we're done.
Oh gosh.
It's Emacs. It's an operating system. It's a text editing system. It's a floor wax and a dessert topping.
And a language. How about that? And if you call within the next 5 minutes, we'll throw in a free Python interpreter.
Supplies are limited. Please act now.
And
Now, how
act
much?
now,
would you
well,
pay?
supplies of Ada are in stock.
All right, so let's
Mr.
talk about
Popeil,
some
I'm
other
in
stuff.
trouble.
Well, since we're waxing lyrical on 8-bit operating systems on our Signal channel, I don't know if you guys saw it today. I'd often heard and wondered and suspected that like today's modern smartphone is way more powerful than the supercomputer I used back in the 80s. And it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a graphic that described it. Makes me very depressed.
I think yes and no. The trick is getting an apples to apples comparison because those supercomputers were doing vector computing. They weren't doing the single computing stuff we do now. But what we do now is way faster than what they were doing then. So they could do more at once, but is the total throughput higher or lower? I just don't think the difference is as big as it is, but it's still hugely different.
You're making me trying to make me feel better, but I still
No. It's your supercomputer. Like I said, it was a purpose-built computer. These are general.
This
purpose
is more
computers.
powerful than the Cray that's sitting in the NSA
Right, but
museum.
but that Cray operated differently than that did.
Yes.
It could do a lot more at once, but not as fast.
So, okay, valid, but
I could never use the
you know,
Cray as a
we're
telephone,
talking
not that I
about
would.
computing. Let's
No.
not go there.
But your modern supercomputers, the fun part is they're running Linux variants like Red Hat. But then they got all the stuff layered on, like their file systems and other things that make them really sexy.
Watch out for that new Void Link malware.
Mm.
There's the Linux operating system malware. It's designed to smack cloud hypervisors.
Mm.
Sorry, I didn't put that in as a story, but I was just talking about it today. It's fascinating stuff. It's actually Void Link, I think it's called. It's actually a piece of malware that was written, they believe, by one person, turned out over a period of days. So advanced persistent threat is now advanced persistent individual. It's not a team anymore.
I
This
mean,
is
So it's an
actually-
API.
Yeah.
or it's
joke.
an individual.
No, it's terrifying how much of a force multiplier AI
Yeah,
can
it will
be
be, yeah.
Mhm.
in the wrong hands
or in the right hands.
or in the right
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
So we're talking about individuals can do the work of what used to take an entire malware team.
Mm-hmm. Done
And
right.
So Linux-based cloud hypervisors are at significant risk from this stuff.
So you're saying even the
And so
bad
you're
guys
talking
are facing layoffs?
No, I think they're just facing diversification.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They need to be retrained to be malware developers.
And upskilled.
They need to be upskilled from malware developers to AI agent managers.
Oh God, kill me now.
Speaking of,
But they're
go ahead, Josh.
they're doing things in different ways. Instead of going after the endpoint, instead of going after your PC or your phone, if you're Jeff and whining about craze and phone and stuff, they're going after the backbones. They're going after the Linux hypervisors and Linux servers that are running the cloud, and by doing so, they're performing effectively massive supply chain attacks. And so this is a fascinating point for any company that uses significant amounts of cloud-based suppliers, vendors, whatever, which is, by the way, all of them. And I mean, every company out there pretty much, except for maybe Jeff.
Hey, Josh, get closer to that microphone. I don't know if you're checking Slack and all, but your audio is pretty
Oh,
low.
I'm sorry. No, I wasn't. I apologize. Is this better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a massive supply chain attack. And if any company is using cloud-based vendors and suppliers, which is everybody, you're screwed. So there's some significant problems going on right now. And there's a lot of companies that are having the equivalent of a SEV 1 or SEV 2 going on right this second. So another 0 day. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, I'm going to drop here that everyone should check out the AI for network security webcast that we did yesterday. It's pretty awesome.
Yes. I need to go
Nice.
do that. Yes. Mandy, what, that was a CRA resource? Yes?
Yes, it's CRA resource.
Awesome. Good. Hey, speaking of AI, I had a story in there that I've got some, potential skin in the game on here. It was, and I don't remember whether we talked about this the last time we were on the show. I was on the show or not, but it was a carryover from the last show I was on 3 weeks ago. My story number 5. Because Josh, we picked this. We were talking about this early on in the show about AI and that type of stuff. But my story number 5, AI autonomously finds 7 FFmpeg vulnerabilities.
Cool.
And it has been removed by the moderators, so you're going to have to enlighten us.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
Say what?
It's a Reddit thread that's been removed by the moderators.
Okay.
And arguably it's very similar to another one that I saw too. One of the comments here is FFmpeg developers asked some days ago to stop flooding open source projects with automated and untested patches. And I think thinking about this, it's also called along the lines of, I don't know if you guys talked about this last week or not. The Curl project has taken down their bug bounty program.
Right.
Because they were being overwhelmed with bug submissions for payment that was entirely AI slop and bogus.
I don't know if we covered that on the show, but I covered it in News Bites.
Yeah.
It was sad, and because it's like, come on, guys, use a little control here. But
yep,
I'm like, getting rid of your bug bounty program seems a little bit much, but
I mean, if your bug bounty program is being inundated with submissions that the researcher has not validated, and you are now left to validate them.
Yeah.
And it becomes more of a time suck than a value. Then
yes.
It totally makes more sense to shut that down. And that's not good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that sentiment. And I don't know there's how you could take your bug bounty and filter it for having validated from the submitter, right? I mean, how do you make sure that? I'm just saying,
because quite honestly, AI can slop all the validation. Like, oh yeah, you need to prove validation. Well, then great, get AI to create fake output that it actually worked. I mean, doable.
And this was one where one of the comments was, with all the bug bounty researchers having to deal. I'm sure Curl's not the only one dealing with AI slop. Think of it as a denial of service attack on bug bounty programs. I thought that was an interesting way. Once again, that's our friend Ed saying that. I just thought, whoa, dude, you nailed it.
Do you have like a private thread that you get eScooters quotes?
Well, this is actually he's been contributing to Sans News Bites lately. He's been commenting. He's been an editor for forever. He's often too busy to contribute. The last couple of weeks, though, well, 3 or 4, he's been contributing, and it's been kind of cool. And so that's why I'm quoting him. I mean, yes, I have other ways to reach him, but this has been coming through the public channel.
You're quoting him, but it's not in the articles that you're saying that he's quoted in. It's been freaking me out.
He was definitely quoted in that one we were looking at earlier.
Yeah. I mean, the bug bounty thing.
Yeah.
So Curl has been saying, they stopped their bug bounty. FFmpeg is freaking out at bug bounty and patches as well.
Yep.
Bug bounties are the AI auto bug finding stuff is getting really ugly for a lot of people.
Yeah. It is, but I Josh, this is part of the reason why I left a 3-year-old story, or a 3-week-old story in my notes. because it can be done, and it can be done well. You can use AI to find stuff. A human can actually validate it, or you can have the AI prove that it can be validated. You can have the AI unit test the findings, and you can have it be highly accurate, especially depending on how the level of automation that you can get to. And
that takes effort.
It does take effort, and arguably it doesn't take that much effort. And I'll talk a little bit here. A week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago, we had our company kickoff, and as part of our company kickoff, I worked on a team on a hackathon. And the part of our hackathon was we were going to try to see if we could get AI to start doing some speed up for some of the pen test work that we do against IoT devices. And I can't say a ton because we're going through responsible disclosure currently. And this is the point. Like, we are going through responsible disclosure because we got AI to find something on a device. It's arguably really stupid, but it was really stupid. And there have been hundreds of thousands of these devices, IoT devices, sold. It found things on this device. It gave us the ability to perform arguably real close to full exploitation of this device. And ultimately, as a result of what it found, also gave us two different ways of doing denial of service. One denial of service about making a service unavailable for a period of time, and the other one causing the device to reboot because of memory corruption. We validated them. Like,
you validated them, or the AI validated them? How far did the AI go? Let me ask that.
Well, let's put it this way. The AI validated them, and then we asked the AI to provide the method for a human to validate them, and we validated them. And
so it was actually a pretty.
So I think the AI should get the bug bounty, not you. Just saying.
Correct. Well, so this isn't even a bug bounty. The company doesn't have a bug bounty, so this is why it's responsible disclosure.
Then why are you even bothering? There's no money in it.
I know, right? Because we want to make the world a better place. That's why.
Okay.
I know, Jeff. Like, I'm being anti-curmudgeon. Thanks, Mandy.
Yay! I'm doing my job.
But so it's possible. It can really be a force multiplier, but it still needs to be done properly. You still have to have the human in the loop. And admittedly, Jeff and Josh, like, how did you validate? One of the things that we did, and Jeff, you said it right up at the beginning, like, you got to do it right. That's hard. That takes work. Yeah, it was hard. It took work. As part of the device that we were testing, we tore it apart. It had a serial console available. We wired up serial console, and we, quote, wired the serial console to the AI so that the AI had access to the serial console and could. And ironically, it spit a whole bunch of debug messages when things were going wrong to the serial console, so they could tell whether the device was rebooting or not. So, yeah. And the console had debug messages available to it. So when there was memory corruption issues from a particular service, it also ended up on the serial console. So giving it enough context to be able to validate is important. And then being able to have it write a unit test that a human could run and validate as well was also important.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how long is this responsible disclosure process going to take?
That is a great question. We are waiting for responses from the vendor to get a security contact because they do not have one listed.
Sorry.
So, Larry,
Josh.
question for you.
Yeah.
How much use do you see this having in the future? Like, are you going to just keep letting AI slam devices? Are you going to build out an entire test rig out of this? What are you going to do with this? I'm honestly curious.
Oh, I mean, if we think about this, should we be using it as as an industry? Should we be using it as a force multiplier? I think we should, but we should be doing so responsibly. That we need to be guiding AI to do appropriate stuff that us as humans have been very creative about. I think as part of the stuff that I've been thinking about is like, hey, great, we turn AI loose on a device, and it's going to go do its thing, and it may not be terribly accurate because it doesn't have enough context or any of those types of things. But when we start considering the ability for some of these models to do some really deep research, like some of the first steps to guiding some of this stuff is providing deep research about what a playbook for an attack against an organization, a technology, an application would look like. Like, you have to start at the beginning. You have to imbue that AI with arguably with our knowledge. Like, hey, if I've got a mobile app and I want to attack this mobile app, I need to be educated about a mobile app, and I need to think about all the types of things that I would do. So, like, training that to go down that road, like, great, let's sit down and build a playbook for attacking a mobile app together. And then the human validates that playbook is valid. And these are garbage, and you didn't consider this, and refine that playbook. And then turn it loose based on that playbook and have it analyze the results and offer suggestions about things that you should do, and have that human, offer suggestions about where those types of things should go. Like, that's sort of my opinion. It's like putting another person on your team that you can discuss, you can develop with, and it become, because you have that second person or third person, it's a force multiplier. It really is.
And that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a replacement for a person.
No, it's not a replacement, but it's doing the first few steps that are boring and tedious.
Yeah, it's like the old joke about
intern.
It's like the old joke about creating a route with Google Maps. Could they start with step 4? Because I already know how to get in my car, get out of my driveway, and out of my neighborhood.
Okay, so I got to tell you this. This is really funny. I'm sorry, but it was a family party. I think it was my sister's wedding, and my dad did customized invitations for every family member, and on the back it was the directions. This is pre GPS.
This is MapQuest.
He did MapQuest effectively for every single person to give them directions from where they were typically to our house, right? And except for my Aunt Selma, who we all adored, but the joke was she was a witch, he just wrote, "Get on your broomstick, fly to Mark and Judy's, get off your broomstick." And that was the entire set of directions.
Wow. As the witch flies, as the crow flies, right? Just flies.
It was, and she got it, and she calls up immediately and goes, "What the hell is this?" And she didn't use the word hell, I'll just be clear. And my mom was yelling at my dad and beating him with a book, and he was laughing so hysterically he almost peed himself.
Talk about winning. That's awesome. That is freaking awesome.
I mean, that reminds me of like the days when you could, ask for something and have it return your results in pirate speak. And that you go to MapQuest and ask it to give you directions if you can fly a broom.
Wait, can you still do that?
I don't know.
I'm sure with AI you can ask it. Like, it will definitely give you that. I go through thought experiments with AI all the time.
Yeah, totally. All right. Hey, anybody got anything else that we want to cover? I know we had some. I wonder if this one came out of the conversation we were having with Bill out of band. Lee, your number 4 Microsoft patches actively exploited Office 0 Day. No, this is not O365.
No,
Is it?
this is well, actually, it is. It's a
Yeah,
Microsoft
it is.
365. There was a flaw that affects it basically it's OLE and what's its partner. Basically, you send somebody a maliciously crafted file, they open it, game over. And there are no updates for Office 2016 or 19. They have some registry key changes, which, I mean, you have to do a slightly different one if you're 64-bit or 32-bit, but it basically disables the OLE functions in those apps, which, I mean, this impacts 16, 19, 2021, and 2024. Those are the long-term support versions, the last two, and then the online versions. So it's kind of interesting. I kind of think if you're running 16 or 19 and not one of the long-term support ones, you might want to reconsider that. I mean, that's what those things are for, is for, I can't run the new version of Office. I need this older one. That's what they're all about. So, okay. And these are officially for that. You do have to license them. You can't just use that old license in perpetuity that you've got, printed out, stored in your drawer.
I can't use my Windows 2000 license. Damn it.
Sorry, dude. But then again, if you're just using it to control the system that controls the nuclear reactor, it'll be fine.
That's fine. It's fine.
That's cool. Yeah. But I just thought, I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'm sure, there's been a couple of new emergency Windows patches. And I'm imagining some of the folks that do patching are rolling their eyes at this going, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. But really, with as many documents as we send around, no matter how many times we tell users to don't click on stuff, I mean, good luck with that, right? Don't click this. Although we should tell them anyway, be careful clicking stuff. And we should put controls in their EDR to try and give them some guardrails. But that all only goes so far. You got to get the patch out there.
Yeah. I mean, and I know we're getting close on time, and there's Jeff. There's a story I want to get you on here of yours. But when we think about getting those patches out there and don't click on shit. My story number 7 that Adrian Sanabria was talking with us about in some private channels, the critical eScan supply chain compromise from Morphosec. Effectively, what ended up happening here is that a Microworld Technologies eScan antivirus product, their update delivery mechanism was compromised, triggered an update, and the update, basically the automatic update to their scanning engine deployed command control infrastructure to all of the systems that were using eScan.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit is right.
Jeez.
Yeah, this
you
is
manually update and patch this now. You have to, because it destroyed the update mechanism. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
bad.
So
Yep.
earlier
Who's
today,
watching, like this is a who's watching the watchers type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lee.
So earlier today, Shelley and I were at the Senior Center teaching a cybersecurity class to seniors. And we're talking about keeping things automatic and get that automatically updated. I mean, you don't want grandma manually updating her stuff.
No. So Lee, I'm going to throw a joke here. You and Shelley were at the Senior Center teaching seniors about cybersecurity. Was that a case of the blind leading the blind?
Oh, seniors leading seniors. Well done.
Sorry.
Well played.
They ask the one-eyed man in the land of the blind.
That's it.
Yep.
But, although actually, one of the things I came up with just on the fly there is that I said, you've all raised kids, and as part of raising kids, you developed a very highly tuned bullshit detector. You need to use that online when looking at AI, when looking at email. I mean, really, you're looking for stuff that don't look right.
Uh-huh.
But if you tell people to use an EDR, something that
they're my age or older, it doesn't want to work. But if you say use your bullshit detector, they know exactly what you're talking about. And I also equated generative AI with the kid who doesn't know it's okay to say I don't know, because it's designed to come up with an answer, right? So, and when that kid spits out that answer, you knew you had to check it. Once again, coming back to the bullshit detector. I mean, I don't sound like I'm just trying to toot my own horn, but I'm like, oh my God, these are easy if you want, but if you need people a little older to remember it, you need easy things to, and I'm thinking, hell, the rest of us could keep track of it that way too. But,
Yeah.
Will people use their bullshit detector online? Well, good luck with that, but I hope so.
That's a great way to think about it.
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is,
Liz,
but
that's
so
brilliant.
much of
I
the
love it.
BS looks authentic, especially
I
when
know,
it's
and that's
trained.
we also
Because
talked
last
about
week-
deepfakes, but
Well,
Yeah.
and not just deepfakes. I'm like, even on like
E-commerce
last-
sites.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
I was going to
TikTok.
say the redirects and on all of the other things, like so much of it for an older person who isn't constantly working on it, they don't know. That's what I was dealing with a 78-year-old last week that had been compromised. Like she wouldn't know because it still looked like USPS to her.
right, they don't, but we give them little techniques and try and show them when things don't look right, what to look for.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of them sink in, but that's where you want them to have
Oh, it's
good
definitely worthwhile.
antivirus that's keeping track of their stuff, keeping itself updated as well. As you got to stack the deck, everything you can do.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
why this one hurts.
This is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Because-
your bullshit detector comment is a fantastic one. The problem is that right now it is so easy to get snatched up by, oh, look, it's an 80% off sale on the clothing that I want. And you're like,
Yep.
why is that URL different? What the
Right.
hell?
Yep.
Yeah,
I actually contacted a couple of clothing lines that I saw that on, that I was like, oh my God, I love that. Not that I'm extremely fashionable, but I love that line of clothing. I want to buy some. Oh, look, it's cheap there. And I call them up and they're like, that's not us. I'm like, well, I wanted to let you know because I thought it was polite. I know it's not you. And they said, no. We get 5 of these a week.
Yeah.
It's that prevalent. It's that bad.
Yeah, and same sort of thing. Like, I will admit I fall victim to some of this stuff. Like, through Facebook, and I'm a pretty crafty person, and like I'll see this post about, oh, hey, we needed this thing, and I did this, like, made this cutting board out of this, and I needed some advice, so I asked the community, and blah 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 blah, and turns out they had a Yegi shop. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, yeah, you sucked me in with like, you're going to learn about this technique about making cutting boards and that type of stuff, and here we are, you're redirecting me. You want me to go visit this e-commerce site for no, you got me. Yeah. Didn't actually visit,
Well, on
but
that
like,
note of-
yeah.
Yeah, on that note of how we're all stupid in our own ways, but don't feel bad. Everybody's dumb occasionally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
And,
kind of want to start a phishing campaign with snail mail that includes a URL for people to type in and see how many people would do it.
Oh God! Oh, don't give them ideas, man. Jesus, don't give them ideas.
Jeff, just send it from the DMV.
I'm sure
in
it's
order
been
to,
done.
in order to renew your thing from the DMV, go to this URL. I just renewed my registration. Like, it would work. It would work.
Oh crap! I got to do my emissions test in like
Yep,
the next 2 weeks.
Exactly. Speaking of emissions tests, yeah, we're at time. So before the gods get angry at us, and before our tiki drinks run dry, it's probably about time for us to wrap up. Jeff, we didn't get to the one I wanted to ping you about. I wanted to ping you about your story number 5, the healthcare technology and compliance, a complex patchwork of laws and regulations.
Next week.
So save it
That's
for
a
next
whole.
week.
I had a theme going on my stories about governance.
Yeah, I
and
saw it. It was a good
compliance.
theme. I was interested in that.
It was.
Well done.
And none of them used UEFI, Jeff. I'm shocked. And none of them used
I don't
PCI
think-
either.
No,
That's
that was
right.
shocking. That was more shocking.
There must have been alcohol involved.
Nope, just a very
Oh.
efficient
Jeff, of
Google
course there is.
searching.
Nice.
So
Nice.
All righty.
All
That's
right.
Jeff spreading his wings as an artiste.
Artiste. Yes. So with that, How about we wrap this up? We'll see you all next week. And Miss
Larry,
Mandy
take
Locust-
us out.
No.
Mandy's-
No, I'm gonna ask
Fair
Mandy
enough.
to take us out. I can't. As the host, I can't take us out. So somebody else has got to do
Mandy.
it. It's Mandy this week. Mandy,
Wow.
take
Okay.
us
it away,
out.
Mandy.
Take us out.
Over and out.
Yeah.
Nailed it.